more you avoid mistakes, you're able to go ahead and continue to move forward. And the third thing.
Well, yeah, you said two. You said three. You said consistency, listening, right?
Yeah.
And then meeting people.
Yeah.
Those are your three major advice you would give someone, and that's what you would feel has made you
100%.
successful.
100%. What's up, everybody? It's your boy Justin Rodriguez, your favorite lender here at Neighborhood Loans. And as you see the environment, you know where we're at. And if we're here, that means that our guest is the one and only Dwight Marroquin. Thank you again for joining.
Thanks again for having me, Justin. This is what, the fourth time?
Yeah, dude.
Last time we were here was 2-3 years ago.
I know, bro.
You were a pup. Now you're not quite a full bred yet, but you're getting there for sure.
There you go, dude.
Thanks again for.
We're just trying to be like you one day, man.
Nah, you passed me, bro. You passed me. But thanks again for having me. I appreciate you doing this. This is very, very consistent of you. And I know I have to do this more often, so I appreciate you keeping me in the lines with the generation that loves this kind of stuff. So
I think it's important, man. This is the future, you know.
It is, man. That's why I think I surround myself with a lot of young people, because you guys are the future of the business. And we're talking about earlier about a guy, and we can talk about that a little later, but it seems like the generation has, I've seen this, the turn. A lot of my friends that are been in the business for 20 years are not doing as well as you guys are. And I always see what you guys are doing to make sure that the old guys kind of learn it. But it's true what they say, man. It's hard to teach an old on new tricks. Besides that, it's not the same. When you guys are on videos and I see all these other old guys on videos, it just doesn't look right. So it's in your DNA. It's in your generation. It's hard to kind of put a guy like me in it. That's why I'm very strategic on what I do and how I do when it belongs to this kind of stuff. I like to stay in my lane. You're not going to see me dancing in a TikTok video. It's just not going to happen. But spending education and experiences, especially in the mortgage industry, is right up my alley. And again, thanks again for having me, and hope to share more knowledge with you. But I want to spin this today, bro.
Okay, let's see. What you got?
I don't want you to interview me. I want to interview you today.
Okay.
I think a lot of already heard of what I said. I think the last podcast we did, I've done 90% of the talking, right? But today I want to hear about you. Obviously, there's a lot of people that look up to you, and I think that the generation that's coming up, the younger generation that is in your shoes, are probably wondering, why haven't they been successful? Like, what are they doing that you're not? What are you doing that they're not doing, right? And you're the kind of guy, you're like me, you're willing to share all your knowledge. You're not like Lord of the Rings, like my ring, my. You're not that type of guy. And that's what I loved about you, admired about you, is that you're willing to share your experiences and your knowledge with anyone that comes along. And those are ingredients for a great leader. I'm telling you, the foundations are set. It's just a matter of how far you want to be in the role that I think you would be in the future. But I think a lot of people now need to realize your consistency, your discipline, and everything. You just had a baby, and you haven't missed the point. I mean, you've been on point on everything you do from the day she was born. I think you were out the office a week or 2 weeks. She got sick. You had a little dip in your business, and you realized that. You got back in track. But what do you do every day, Justin? Like, who motivates you? How do you stay disciplined to do what you do at such an early age?
And that's a good question. I think it's funny because I think a lot of it really has to do with surrounding yourself with the right people up front. And so when I first got into business, your voice always plays in my head. And I think accountability is like something that not a lot of people talk about, having the right environment, having the right people around you. So when you're going through the day-to-day, like, you're trying to be like, okay, I don't really want to work today. I don't really want to do it. But you have to have those people who you surround yourself with to kind of hold you accountable even when you're not there. Like, I already know what you're going to say if I didn't do it. And the reference I like to do is my friends. If I don't come to the office suited one day, I already know, dude, is it casual Friday? Are you what's the problem? So there's certain people that you have to surround yourself with to hold you accountable, and even if they don't say anything to you, in the back of your mind that what they will say if you weren't to do the things that you do. And outside of that, bro, it's honestly family. Like, I think that we all growed up. Obviously, you're my uncle. We've grown up surrounded by family all the time, and there's nothing better than to share experiences with our family and understanding and realizing, like, all the things that I'm doing allows us to be able to travel together, allows us to be, it feels great to be able, instead of we go to dinner with my parents, instead of them like, okay, we're picking up the bill. No, I'm picking up the bill. I'm paying dinner for you. And there's some feeling that you get by doing that experience that you provided for them means the world, to be able to be self-sufficient, to be able to provide for not only yourself, but your parents as well. So on a day-to-day basis, when I don't want to wake up, when I don't want to go to the gym, it's like, okay, think about not Justin right now. Think about Justin at 5 o'clock when you're looking back and be like, fuck, I didn't wake up. Oh, well, I had a late start. Oh, I didn't go to the gym, or I didn't work as hard as I wanted to. Like, I reflect on every single week, and I'm never really thinking about me today. I'm thinking of, at the end of the week, how am I going to self-reflect on whatever I did on a daily basis. So the way I look at it is like, my girl's at home, right? If she had to look at my week on what I did, would she be proud? And my daughter, would she be proud on the stuff that I did? Did I give it all? Because she's sacrificing her time to be with my daughter, right? She can be out working, or she could be out doing whatever she wants to do to live her own life, but she's sacrificing her time to be at home. And if she were to self-reflect on the things I did I just screw around, or did I actually do the things that I have to do in order for me to provide for my family? And I think about that every single day. I wake up, and I always wanted to set the right expectation for my family, so that one day when they look back and they say, okay, what is my dad doing? What is he providing for my family? Can I set the right expectation and foundation? What do I have to do on a daily basis? Well, my dad wakes up, goes to the gym every single day. He goes to work, works 9 to 5, comes home, and he tries to spend time for us. And I want them to be able to do the same thing, so that when they have a family, they know that there's nothing crazy that I did different. I just was really focused on the stuff that I want to do, and I have a set routine that I'm going to do on a daily basis, so they can recreate it, and they can provide that for their own family one day. Because there's nothing secret to what we do. It's not. It really isn't. It's just making sure that you stay disciplined on a daily basis, even the times when you're in the hospital. And it takes a special partner, I will say, because when you're at the hospital, you just give a baby, and now you got people calling you for, like you say, it's not brain surgery, but at the same time, it's your business, right? You don't want the business to go away. So now you're a week and a half in the hospital, and there's still loans that have to close, and if you're not there, then it might not close on time, or it might not be there. So you still have to be somewhat present in the situation, but be there for your family in the moments that you're never going to get back.
Your just discipline is off the charts. Yeah. And I think that's the number one. I think we talked about this before, and I'm sure other people have said this, where they're like, you rather have discipline than motivation, right? What's more valuable? And I think your discipline is off the charts. I think that's one of the secrets of your success. I think you are so disciplined, but you're right. You surround yourself with the right people. And I think that, as when you came into this business, if people are looking at this, like, what would 3 top things you would give someone that's less than 3 years in the business? Because you've only really been, this will probably be, I would say, your 3rd year in the business, fully, right? I think you've been with us for, I think 2021 is when you joined us, or 2020. But the first year and a half was really internships, learning. I don't really, yes, I would say in the business, but as an originator, I would say this is your 3rd full year. And I think that you've exceeded all my expectations, and a lot of expectations of many people in the industry. I think they use me as an excuse, like, oh, because of no. I want everyone to know, yes, I opened some doors for this young man, but I've never given up my leads, my realtors. Every person that he's met, you've done it on your own. And did I open some doors to help you cultivate them? Absolutely. But what you did with that was all you. And I think a lot of people use that as, I call them haters. They see themselves like, what the hell is this young man doing that I'm not, right? Like I said, those are the older crew, or the more egotistical people. You tell them what to do, and they don't do it. But that's okay. That's why you're successful, because you don't want everyone doing what you're doing, because then you want everyone's going to be as successful as you, and there's not enough of leads going around. So we love to talk about it because we like to share, but not everyone's going to do it. But what are the 3 things you would give someone that's less than 3 years in this industry that are crucial to being successful?
I think the first thing that you kind of mentioned already is not listen to the noise. I think that people are always going to have their opinions. At the end of the day, if you're going to you're going to be successful if you just put your head down and continue to work. I think that's a lost art, because I think the more that people understand and recognize that if you just do one thing consistent, like one thing that I would say that I did consistent for the last 3 years is I have not missed a day during the week. I'm posting. I post once every single day, maybe sometimes twice, but 100% over the last 3 years, I have posts during the week every single day. That has been the most consistent thing that I've done with my business. Some people, it's calling their realtors every Monday. Some people, it's following the court. Whatever your niche is that you want to follow, all you have to do and understand is you follow that with no matter what people say, no matter what the noise was. I know that people were talking, oh, Justin's social media, like that's always going to be there. Someone's going to have their opinion on it. But I still did it, no matter what anybody told me, right? So that's the first thing, is continue to be disciplined no matter what the noise might say and people might do. But the second thing is, I think this is for real, a really lost art, is listening. You know, wear sunscreen. That video that you showed me, I think when I was interning, that was like one of the first videos you showed me. I love the quote that he gave me. The quote that he says is, advice is another form of nostalgia. And that quote to me always sticks to me, because the way that I look at it is when people give me advice, they're simply giving me the advice from the past experiences that they have already had. So how can I take what someone's giving me and figuring out how I can recreate my life through their past failures, through the things that they've already done, and how can I turn it into a success story in my own way, right? And I've always thought of that every single day that I live my life. When I listen to people, it's never, I don't listen to people and just walk away from the conversation and don't take anything out of it. Every person I meet, I hear what they have to say, and I kind of formulate my own way of living life, right? Like, I think that's kind of what makes me a little bit more conservative in life in some aspects, because I listen to people's failures and I don't want to relive that. So I'd rather be conservative and live a modest life for the upfront, and then when I'm older, being able to enjoy the fruits of the labor, right? So that's why up front, I think I take people's failures and I meet as many people as I possibly can. That's another. Number two is really meet people, listen to them, understand where they're at in their life and how they have failed. And then you just take their failures and then apply it to your life and see, are you on path to do what they've already done and have failed? And if you are, deviate away from it. Like, just don't follow that same path. Simple. Go the other way. If they, whatever past experience that they have with their family, friends, money, financially, anything, just deviate away from it and try to live your life and make the least amount of mistakes as possible, because the more you avoid mistakes, you're able to go ahead and continue to move forward. And the third thing.
Well, yeah, you said two. You said three. You said consistency. Listening, right?
Yeah.
And then meeting people.
Yeah.
Those are your three major advice you would give someone. Yeah. And that's what you would feel has made you
100%.
Successful.
100%.
And it's good to share because it's not that complicated, right? I think you have a great team. You surround yourself with the right people. You surround yourself with people that know. I've always said I'm not the smartest guys in the room, but I know who they are. And at the end of the day, I don't need to be the smartest guy. I just need to know who they are, so get the answers that I need. Because it's impossible in this business to know everything. But if you surround yourself with the right people, they can give you the answers that you're looking for without spending hours and hours trying to find it on your own. So that's great. I think that kind of knowledge to the people. But what do you think your generation, do you think that, why don't they listen more? Like, why don't they, everyone wants to be a Justin, right? They want your success. Even the old guys, they get a little hurt. I had one loan officer. It's like, oh, I can do these videos too. Again, I don't think not that they can't. I don't think it's going to be as receptive as your videos would be. But I'm glad that they're trying, right? It's the first thing to do is to try. I think we've gotten into a point where sometimes ego is, I told you, ego is probably the worst enemy. I think they see you as a newcomer, right? Less than 5 years in the business, I would say. And what are you going to teach a guy like me that's been in the industry for 2 decades? And sometimes in this day and age, you need to reinvent yourself. The things that we were doing before are not going to work. And I think I've told you that every time
100%.
You bring names up and, people know we have technology, MMI. I can see what everyone's numbers are. So when you and your colleagues mention names, let's fact check them, right? Let's see what they're really doing. And how many times does it surprise you that they're not as successful as you think they are, or they portray themselves to be?
And I think the exact thing that you just said answers your question itself. Why don't they listen? What makes them, stop them from succeeding? And I think it's exactly that, is the perception of social media has blessings and curses, right? Like with social media, it brings forth another, I guess, perspective on life, that it makes everybody seem like they're so successful. The fast cars, how quickly you become successful. Like, I'm a culprit of it too. I post how quickly I've grown, and now it has gave people this false idea that, okay, I can become successful in 3 years. It doesn't happen overnight, right? Like, I think that there's similar like the Bulls, right? They had all the right things lined up for them to be champions. Three-peats twice in a row. They had a great coach. They had one of the best players of all time. They had Scottie Pippen, like
the best player of all time,
LeBron, whatever, you know. But either way, everything came together, and that's the reason why they arguably are the best team of all time. But it all came together at the right time, and I think I can compare myself in that situation where I think things just lined up perfectly, and that's the reason why I actually became successful so quickly, because I had the right pieces in front of me. But social media gives this perception of like, oh, it happened overnight, it happened so quick. You know, you're only an overnight success when everything goes right and people see the glitz and the glam of it, but no one really saw the beginning stages on how long it actually took to build. Because before, I was 2 years I was making minimum wage. Like, I was working, I thought I was going to intern for him for free. I was happy to intern for free. I was willing to do it, you know, and for you to be able to scale that into producing 20 anywhere from 20 to 25 million, I never expected the money to come. The money just came because I was willing to put my head down and I was willing to work. So I think for me, and understanding where young people are really coming from, it's like, don't focus on the noise, whether it's good or bad. Like, don't focus on the people who are producing big. Get to know them, learn from them, understand what they're doing, why are they doing it, but don't just look at it and be like, oh, but they became overnight success overnight. Like, it doesn't happen that way. You have to literally put your head down, focus, work, and meet individuals who you want to become, so that way your path to success is a lot quicker, because the more people you meet, the easier it is for you to become successful, because people are just going to give you the path to success, but it's whether or not you follow it is really going to be the reason why you succeed.
And that's a great point, but I also think that you're at that cusp of the next level. I think you talked a couple weeks ago, adding someone else to your team. I think you have a very strong team now. Yeah. You have a lot of support now, but I think you got to a point where your leads might not be touched as often as you would like them to be, right? And I have no problem, because I know you're a hard worker, right? You want to surround yourself as a leader. I have to surround myself, or I give pieces to the people that want to put in the time. It's no rocket science. I think as originators, the more time you get, especially in the summertime, you ain't gonna want to work. I have the same ambitions as everyone else, but I like to have fun as well. You know, there's times where I just want to go to Castaways, have a beer during lunch, and enjoy the summer, because it's so short in Chicago. But again, I have responsibilities. I have things I have to do. And someone like you that's young, it amazes me that you're so focused that way. When you came to me and said, listen, I can double my efforts if I have more help. If I have more time, I can bring in more leads, and you sold it right. And I said, maybe it's the right time. So we gave you some temporary help to see if that continues. My mentors told me, hey, 90 days. If you can consistently produce 90 days, I mean, I think looking at numbers, I mean, we're some hard times right now, right? It's not the industry itself hasn't, rates supposed to go down. They haven't come down. And one of our LOs did $7 million this month. I mean, That's insane. $7 million in a month, in a market where people can't even find loans, can't do deals. So that goes to show you put in the time, you're with the right people.
And she's one of the most disciplined loan officers in the office. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not secret.
The key thing is discipline. You're absolutely right. And this is going to continue to change, Ajay. I think that you are – one of the things I like to do with everyone in my team, in my region, is share, right? And I've told you, you're going to hear a lot of things. I would love for you to stay disciplined and stay focused and stay driven, so that you can continue to add the right people to your team, so that growth consistently is projected to go up. The last thing you want to do is add, so not to say that would happen to you, but add people, because adding people is not going to solve a problem. You think it might, but adding the wrong people can be a cancer to your team. So having the consistency that you're having now, if it continues, we're projecting our third and fourth quarter to be a lot better than, believe it or not, first and second. I think that the industry is coming to we had a meeting 2 weeks ago with my owners, and there is a shift in the industry. We're not a small margin company, right? So we are, I'm not here going to say names, but there's a company, it's in the news. They were $500 million in debt, and they just basically refinanced their debt. And if those LOs are in that company, they're hoping that this industry, this market's going to change. Hey, I might not be the brightest star in the galaxy, but if my company was $500 million in debt and just refinanced for next year, what do you think I'd be doing right now?
Start searching.
When you're a low margin company, and it sucks, people probably don't want to hear that. And I don't have to tell you who that company is. It's in the news. People can figure it out.
Right.
I would definitely, as a loan officer at that company, start looking. Because this industry is not going to go back to the $3 trillion it once was. It's not. And if you're a low margin company, it's not going to be a good outcome for you. We already know that there's going to be a shift in warehouse lines, which is part of our back end process. They're already cutting. We just went through it. The reason I'm telling you is because we went through the audit where our bankers came in. Okay, you guys are good. They didn't touch our warehouse lines, but you're low margin and you're not making any money, which a lot of people are not. What do you think it's going to do to the warehouse lines? Mark my words, a lot of these lenders that are low margin lenders, their warehouse lines are going to get cut. They're probably going to turn into brokers. They just don't have the money to fund their own paper. And that's going to open up a lot of opportunities for people to search and find their calling to make sure that they align themselves with the right lender. But I think a lot of the older or mid-range people, I would say mid-range is anybody who's been in the business. When you're old school, you've been in the business 15 years, that's when I say you're the old one. You've been in the business less than 5 years, your generation, that's one part. Then you got the 5 to 15 years. That's the sweet spot where a lot of guys already have been established. I think the 20-year guys, I think they haven't made the change. I don't know if they're going to be able to make the turn. The 5 to 15 guys, they still can. But they have to realize they have to do the things that you just said. Because if they can't do that, bro, they're going to end up like the
But what I find it interesting on what you're talking about is like, we talk about where the industry is going. And I think one of the main things about the way my perspective of the industry is like, even when I first got into it, we talked about it before, is like I never really knew what a good or bad market is, and to this day I really don't know like what like I really don't know. I know you hear the news that mortgage applications are down, like you hear all the things, but that's a part of the things that I want people to know and understand. It could be very discouraging for a new loan officer that comes into the market and all you hear on the news, interest rates are higher than ever, mortgage applications are down 20%, like you hear all these things, and like in my head I'm like, we're not down. We're nowhere near down. If anything, we're up. But the reason why I say that is because when your perspective, when you have a positive perspective on everything in terms of life, business, and you just continue to put your head down and not focus on whether the market's the best market of all time or the worst market of all time, you're just indifferent. You're just working. And I think that perspective has to be shared with a lot of individuals in the market, because I have friends who are in the business, or agents, insurance people that come to me and they're like, well, Justin, like, how do you keep such a positive mindset? And it's like, because one of my negativity is not going to help, just simply being positive. Rather, when obviously I was in the hospital while my business was going, like, what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to just be down? And obviously I'm excited having a baby, but my business is down. So am I supposed to be upset about it? No, like, when I was ready to get back to work, it was just going to put my head down. I'm going to refocus on rebuilding the business to where I want it to be. And it was never, ever about being negative about or listening to the news. Like, it's important to understand where the market's at, but don't let it impact your business. And that was something that I just don't think people understand, is like, it's really hard. And because when your business is down, the first thing, your initial thought is like, oh my God, am I going to get paid? Am I going to do this? How am I going to grow? How are we going to do this? And obviously you don't have as much money to be throwing events and to business generate, but it's simply doing the little things and understanding that when you first got in this business, you started with $0 or close to it, right?
Right.
How did you build your business? How did you scale? You didn't have money. right? So it's figuring out what did you do in the beginning and reapplying those things to the business that you have right now and continue to grow that way. Like, I think people try and make it a little bit too difficult on themselves, and they think that they have to do these big fancy things in order to get business. Yes, at one point that's going to get you even more business. They're going to help you scale more, but it's really focusing on how to scale your business the way you did when you first got in the industry is when you're really going to be successful. People just take it for what it is, and everything you're talking about, warehouse signs, everybody's like, oh my, all these big words, they get freaked out, but put your head down and get to work. People like your loan officer you're speaking about don't close $7 million by being at home with their feet up on the couch. Like, they're going to work every single day, and it's really important for people to understand that perspective in order for them to grow.
It's a curse, I think, as a loan officer, because you have time. People are like, oh, my wife tells me all the time, you're originator, you're the boss, you're this, how come you don't? And it is a curse because we're blessed to be in positions where we don't have to punch a clock. We have to be somewhere. But I think as entrepreneurs, I think I mentioned something to another LO. We're entrepreneurs. Today, we're entrepreneurs. We're 100% entrepreneurs. We just happen to be under an umbrella of a good company. But my success is built on what I do, right? They're going to help me with marketing, and they're the tool in my belt. But ultimately, it's me. I'm the guy that has to make it work, right? I'm the guy that has to put in the time. I'm the guy that has to do everything to make sure that the leads and the people that I've talked to turn into referral partners and leads and follow-ups and all that other stuff that I think as loan officers we have to do, right? But I think in your shoes, like, what do you think your next steps? Like, what are you focusing on next? You have already been successful. I mean, you can probably not say turn it off, but you can take a step back, cherish more time with your family. But you're ambitious. You know what you want. What's next 3 years, Justin? Now you're your fourth year as originating right now, and you're off. Every year you've grown. This year is going to be better than last year. You're on pace to do better. I think which is the. And I love having. I think we have a little competition in our office, and you and MR head to head. On top of that, we just had an announcement of where Leaders Club is going to be in Puerto Rico. As you know, these guys go all out. And I love to post the stats because it does motivate you. Like, you've been through it. You know how much fun it is and how you can then take your significant other and have her share some of the successes with you, right? Have her see where all your hard work is gone, right? But what is 3 years, Justin? What does that look like? Like, what is your next goals as an originator, as a loan officer? What do you want? And your personal too. What do you want in the next 3 years? What does Justin look like?
Honestly, that's a good question, and I think that I want to touch base on where you're talking about the President's Club, because I think that's one of the main things too. Is when we were at the President's Club last year, a bunch of the LO's wives are like, "You gotta come back next year. This gotta be a reoccurring family trip." So I mean that's definitely motivated within itself to be able to have that experience, and your partner that's been there throughout the entire year of you grinding and having the weekends, picking up the phone, doing the things, and it all comes together when you go to the President's Club trip because you're coming together. You're surrounding yourself with people who are better than you and just are hungry as well, and they're all trying to grow together, and you're just feeding off each other, and it's like a family, and you have your family there as well, so you get to have experiences with your family. You're growing because you're surrounding yourself with the best people in the company, so there's anything better than that trip. I love that trip. But the next 3 years, like, I've already, the main thing for me is obviously continue to expand my team, have experiences. I love team dinners. I love doing the team pictures and going to dinner with all you guys like that. To me, like, continue to doing those things and those traditions and continue to add to that. I want them to be able to experience more. I do want leadership at one point in time. I don't know, in 3 years, I think more 5, 10 years, but I think leadership for me is a role that I do see myself. Like, I talk to other individuals in the business, they're like, I'm ready to get out this business, like, I'm done. But I'm like, so I just started. Like, I'm fucking excited to be in this business for the next 5 to 10 years. I think that, I look up to you in every way. Like, when I first got into business, even just going to a Cubs game and seeing the experiences that you bring forth with your referral partners and everybody, not only but for your loan officers as well. Like, you brought experiences to these people that they never experienced before, and not only them, but myself, I never had in my life. And, like, to be able to have that surrounded by myself is very inspiring, because I want that. I want to be able to provide experiences to other people and have a similar role as you. Like I want to have some sort of leadership role where I can help other individuals grow, because once you have a certain level of success and you taste it, you're like, I want everybody to taste that. Like that shit's like, there's just something about it that you get so excited when you not only see yourself grow, but all the other individuals around you grow. That to me, when you see like Carmen, when she closes a loan, like how excited she gets, you're like, oh shit, like her first clear to close with the company, or her first day, those are things where like, yeah, it feels good when I do it, but it feels even better when you see someone else, because it reminds you of the excitement that you got your first time when you got your first clear to close. Like I'll never forget when I was in college jumping up and down that my first loan closed, like I was in my college dorm closing loans, and you're like, oh my God, my first, like that shit, there's something to be said about that. But now you could share those experiences with other people, like life is cyclical. Like it's funny that you always talk about that. Like everything comes full circle. You never really understand it until you're going through it. Like you have your first baby, you really understand what life is when you have a baby. Like at that changed my life. Having a baby really changed my life. You see all parts of life. I don't know if you've seen the movie Mr. Otis. It's that you should watch.
See, now you're giving me advice. I love it.
It's true. You should watch that movie. That movie, like, it's about a guy who it's like I thought it was a Disney movie, but it's kind of fucked up. It was like this guy who's an old, very, very grumpy old man. So always grumpy. And everybody's like, man, why is this guy? He's the type like, get off my yard. A grumpy, really mean old man. But it dives deep into his household. And it shows him in a scene, he's about to kill himself. And you're like, bro, I thought this was a fucking Disney movie. The dude's about to hang himself in the movie. But you fast forward and it dives really into his life. And it shows him in his house with his wife. His wife passed away. His dog passed away. His kids. He's the only one alive in his family. Everyone passed away in his life. So obviously he hates life, and he wants to do it all by himself. And it gives you perspective, because you never really understand what people are going through. And then the first thing I thought of was me, the place that I'm living at right now, fast forward 20 years, not having my dog, my kids in college, me going back to the apartment that I lived in, and just like thinking of the memories that I was living in my house. And it's the first thing I thought about that movie. And I'm like, bro, like that really made me enjoy every moment that I have currently, whether it's closing a loan, whether it's being with my family, whether it's traveling, whether it's that, because it really put a perspective in my life where it's like, and just enjoy every single moment. I'm a very like, my mind starts going, and even this morning, my parents were taking care of my dog Cafe. The first thing I thought of, I was like, okay, I'm gonna walk home, I'm gonna walk Cafe, I'm gonna do this, and he's not there. I'm like, oh, I'm not walking Cafe. And then you start thinking, like, what if when he's not here? So it makes you just appreciate these moments, like movies like that. And that's one piece of advice I'd give to everybody is YouTube is super important. Those types of movies that could spark your mind, that can go to different places that you never really thought that your mind could go. That's really important. You have to stimulate your mind all the time. I watch YouTube, podcasts, all this stuff every single day, because I want my mind to continuously be stimulated. I want different ideas, event ideas, all these things. And when I listen to other people's podcasts and other people's perspective on life, that helps me grow, because I hear other people who are way more successful than me. I'm talking millions, billions of dollars that are on a podcast, and it's free. So I just listen to them every single day. And when I hear people and it sticks in my mind, it helps me grow. And on a financial level, for my family, emotionally, spiritually, it just helps me continue to grow every single day, because it's easy to fall into the day-to-day of life. Like, it's easy to go to work, drive to 9 to 5, you get lost. It's almost like you're in jail. Like, you're in jail within your own life, because you just fall into the day-to-day and you don't really know what the purpose of life is. But when you're consistently stimulating your mind and you're always listening to other people and other people's life experiences and how these people are growing these multi-million-dollar businesses, it makes these goals and dreams seem small. It doesn't seem like you can't achieve it, because you're listening to these people and you're like, they sound human. They sound like they're able to do what they're doing, but I'm getting a different perspective on life that now I'm like, okay, why can't I be $100 million guy? Like, I think I could scale it.
But do you chase it for the money? Because obviously success can be measured in many different ways. And we've talked about this before. I think money is important. I think I shared this with you. I'm going to put it in a more PG version. But it was a buddy who talked about doing jobs that, weren't very, not something that you don't want to brag about what you do. And he basically, I'm like, would you shovel manure for a living, right? And If paid enough money, he's like, I'll shovel shit all day long. I don't care. And I'm like, man, but wouldn't that like mess you up? Like every day you just gotta, shovel shit every day. Wouldn't your mind be like, where did my life go? Like, is money that important to you? You know what his response was? Shit, with enough money, it'd buy me a shitload of therapy. But I think when you peel the onion and you see people's, what do you measure success? Money is not success. It buy you a lot of stuff, but sometimes you have to peel the onion back. You'll get opportunities where you might be sold on we talk about be selling on a dream, right? But if that dream does not include your family, or maybe not include your family, but have less time with your family, would you take it? Is money really the driver? Is money really gonna? And there's people that are fine. There's people that don't like spending time at home. That's okay. If that drives you, that doesn't drive me. I mean, today we're like, how much time you have? Why? Why do I got to get out of here at a certain
Go
time?
home to your family.
Because I want to go see my son play soccer. 6 o'clock. I got to go see him. That to me is more important than anything else. I don't need to work 24/7. Most days are over. I don't mind putting in the time that needs to be put in. But I also have to give my family that same level of professionalism that I give my clients to them. And I respect their time. And if it's important for my son to be there, every time he scores, every time he does a nice move, what's the first thing he does?
Just looks over
He looks over to the sideline. And you play sports. How important was it when your parents were there?
Yeah. And they were there every moment.
So that's why you're built the way you are. That's why I'm doing it. Same thing. Like, could I make more money doing more work, telling him I can't go? Yeah. But that doesn't make me happy. Money is important, but it doesn't drive me anymore. I need it, and I love it. I like making a lot of it.
Yeah.
But and you guys, I'm not running bullshit. You guys have heard me decline appointments on Saturdays because of it, right? I'm at a point in my life where I don't need to. And I see you are going to get there. And I think time is the one thing that you have to kind of manage. I've told you that before. Time management has to improve because you can't make everyone happy.
Yeah.
You're not. Someone's not going to be happy. And I can tell you one thing. If I had to pick my family or my referral partners to be unhappy, who do you think it's going to be?
100%.
Right?
I think I got a good story for that. It's my own personal life. So it's kind of funny. When Leilani was first born, one of the things that I got my girl was a push gift. So for people out there, be ready when you have a kid. It's a push gift. It's a new gift that people talk about. So her push gift was a car. So I got her a new car. And so it was a reality check really quick because when you got her a car. So the first thing you think when you get someone a gift is, I'm not going to have an argument for the next 3 months. I'm going to be on top of the world. Well, you fast forward, and I think I went probably with you. I was out probably with you late, and I didn't text her that I was going to be out a certain time. And, the first thing she said was, you didn't respect my time. You didn't text me. You didn't let me know what time you're going to be home. I wouldn't be mad if you let me know what time you'd be home, but you didn't tell me when you're going to be home. And in my head, I'm like,
were we here smoking a cigar?
I think so. And the first thing I thought was like, I just bought you a car. I thought you were not going to be arguing with me. And, but it makes you realize that money, the material things, it only goes so far. You're not going to be forever happy because I bought her a car. What's more important to her was the time of me being home and me respecting the time that she had for her. So to answer your question though, what is success? How do you measure success? And I think the more that I've grown, the more that I've learned from you and from my parents, for everybody, the way you measure success is through how many leaders you create through the success that you have done. So how many people can you say that you have created and become a leader through the success that you've earned? So whether that be your kids, whether that be other originators in around the area that you do, because if you create a lot of leaders, that means I think you're really successful because you're creating people that's creating a positive impact on the world. And if you could say that I've created 10 people that have positively impacted the world, what more do you want? That's something right there where you really start thinking about it. I look at it on a daily basis. The reason why I work so hard, exactly, I'll bring it back again, is I want my kids to look at what I do on a daily basis, and I want them so bad to desire it so bad to recreate what I did, because they see how hard and how much I desire success. So that way they can recreate it for their family. And I want to create great leaders in that aspect of life, because my parents did it for me. I'd be lying to you if my parents, every single day, I never understood how they did it. They would go to work 9 to 5. They would drive me from Chicago to Rolling Meadows, Algonquin, to play baseball, then to drive back to Bolingbrook to do it all again the next day. And they never blinked. My mom was in the car on her laptop working while I was at a baseball practice. You know, like, those are the things that I remember to this day. And they create a great leader. You're part of you molded me into a great leader. Like, those are the things that I want people to remember me by. And it's pretty fucked up, but I think about it all the time. What would happen right now if someone shot me right now and I died? What is the first thing people would think at my funeral? And that's the first thing I think about. I think about that all the time. How would people be at my funeral? Would they remember me as the guy that was smiling all the time, was positive, and how would they think of me? And I think of that all the time, because I want people to have that impact, that when I walk in a room, they know that I'm always smiling, I'm bringing forth positivity, and I'm here to create great leaders and give back to everybody, because I'd be lying to you if I think I'm the only one that could do what I do. I would be lying to you. I don't think so. I just think that I nailed the head in the coffin, figuring out that you just put your head down and you work every single day, that you'll become successful. But I think that that's a lost trait. I think people need to become more positive and need to understand that the more leaders that you have in this world, the better, and that everything's going to grow around you. Because if you bring forth positivity in the world, it's going to get back to you.
It's true when you say you hit something right now about success and happiness. And today, obviously, you know, it's funny because I had a closing for one of our personal LOs. And he asked me to go to the closing. I'm like, bro, I haven't even been to a closing. I'm not going to your closing, bro. I mean, I'm not, it's a house deal. We don't get paid on it, right? But not that compensation is a factor here, but I'm like, listen, I don't go to my closings for anyone anymore. And for you, I'm sorry, bro. I'm not even going to get you a gift, bro. Right? And I was messing around with him. And we helped him, we put him in. We gave him the advice, and he was like you. He listened. He did everything I told him, and he did it. He pulled the trigger a little too early, but we made it work, right? And fast forward, he comes in with a gift. For me, talk about reversing the flow of the river, right? So appreciative that he bought me, and I was joking around. He bought me a gift, which that's the most touching thing I've had this year so far. Like, he didn't have to, and I felt like I called him on the way here. I'm like, hey, bro, I was just messing around, you don't have to give me a gift, bro. I need you to take it back, like, dude. And he's like, I gave it to you from my heart, bro. I don't want to sound all Ponzi and all bullshit in front of all the guys and shit, but I really appreciate what you did, and I gave it to you from my heart. I'm like, how can I take it back after that? I'm like, okay, but we're going to drink it all together. Yeah. We'll figure out a day that works for everyone. But it does. Those kind of things, yes, it makes me happy. More than getting I just got a new contract today. And you know me, I don't get contracts very often. And it was like, okay. I mean, not that I'm not happy about it and appreciate it, but it wasn't as impactful as that, So you're on a path, Justin. You definitely are on a path of getting to where you need to be, of creating. I could see that already. You've referred me a lot of loan officers, and he has too. The guy that we closed, we got another new loan officer because of him. And when you create the team that says, "Listen, be part of this." This morning we're going back and forth with another gentleman, right? And when you are the type of person that, listen, you could be part of this. You can experience the same thing I have. You have the work ethic. We'll give you the formula. We have it. It's just a matter of figuring out, come here, see what we're talking about. And when you create those you and everyone else that does it for the region, it makes you feel good, because I know it's not selfish, right? Most people do things because it's in it for them. When you start doing things that's in it for others, eventually it's going to come back to repay you. I believe in karma. I believe in the energy. I believe in Soraya, she's always said, she even got me a little candle that's supposed to create energy and shit, I love her to death, but she's always bringing these sage and all these, energy things that make the energy good around you. But it's true. I do believe that what you do for someone else, so if you do things right and your intentions are right, eventually it'll come back. It does. It comes back.
When did you learn that, though?
I learned it after when I started. I realized that more than anything, when I was at Wells Fargo, and I did a lot for people, it made me feel good. And I didn't get the opportunity to lead there. I was touched. I was put the hand on my shoulder, and it's time for you to step up. And I said, fine. And mind you, I'd never asked. They came to me, and then they did one of those psych, it all happens. I believe everything happens for a reason. The same thing that Buzz Luhrmann wears sunscreen. There's another quote in there. Everything we do is have chance. It is so true. I think that you coming on, teaching you the ropes. I already knew that the industry was. I didn't know the industry was changing. I kind of thought about it, but again, I didn't know how much social media would impact, and how this aspect of the business that I don't know, I needed to learn. And again, have chance. You happen to come on, you show me more, Justin, than you think you have, because I see the stuff that you do with the young originators that have come on. When I say young, less than 5 years, that are now coming into the business, have been in the business, and are doing things that I don't know what to do. Shit, I don't know. I don't have Facebook. I'm telling you, MySpace is the only thing I even know what the hell it is, right? But I think that I make fun, but at the end of the day, if I had to come on to this market right now, I'll still be knocking on doors, calling on. I think I'll have some success, but if I get a referral partner that wants me to do a video, I'm like, not that I'm shy. I'm not shy on the camera at all. It's just not me. It's not in me. It's in your DNA. It's in you. You were brought up with that. Every person of your age is on phone 90% of the time. Now we have a new guy came in, and you saw him, and I see certain things like, okay, and now it's time to put him on the path of growth, right? So we'll see if he makes that and he likes that. One thing I would say is success for you is you love what you do. Yeah. The money came to you because you love what you do.
I agree.
When you do, I've said it before, when you do something you love, organically it's going to come. When you do something you hate, you're always going to have limitations, because I have to get up. I don't like working out, which is why I don't like getting up in the morning, even though I'm supposed to, and I don't like it. You like it. That's why you get up every day in it. But as you get older, you have to do it even more. And it's the opposite. You do it even less, which sucks. But I have to find a way to be more disciplined with that, But with you, I think that your next way of getting what you want, as far as your leadership, like, what do you think you need to do, or where do you need to grow to? Because it's already in your DNA. I can already tell you organically want to help people. Whether those people feel like you do or you don't, that's you. You want to. That makes you happy, and you fulfill that feeling of joy when you're helping others. But what do you think you need as a person to get to the point where I want to be the best version of myself as possible? Like, what do you think you need to improve on? And what kind of advice would you give someone else to propel themselves to that position?
I think the more people that I look at, I know one thing, it's a blessing and a curse. I think I am a people pleaser, where I will I will try my best, to your point, to help as many people as I possibly can. People might refer as people pleasing, whatever, however you want to put it. But I think in my perspective, I think I need to be more, I guess, selfish in the way that you kind of see it, for not only for myself but for my family, because over time, like you said, right, like little things that you don't really realize, like, for example, going to closings. It's one of the things I love doing, but the busier you get, the harder it becomes, because now that time period of me driving, going to the closing table, takes away from the time that I could be home with my family. Why? Because now all the numbers I have to run, the pre-approvals, the things that I have to do are taken away, because now I spent time to drive. And now when I go home, guess what I have to do? I have to update pre-approvals, run numbers, do the things that everybody wants me to do, and it takes away time from my family, right? So now you start having that trade-off. Like you've always been telling me, is like, you don't understand the importance of time until you have your own family. You don't understand the importance of your I guess your partner's family until you have a baby. You don't understand the importance of a lot of different things in life until you have a baby. Once you have a baby, it changes your perspective on a lot of different aspects of life, because now it amplifies everything. Now you're kind of recognizing like, oh shit, I'm working till 7 o'clock at night because I did X, Y, and Z. So now how do I cut things out so that way I have more time, so that I can get home at a reasonable time and I can spend more time with my family, because that's what really makes me happy. So you really don't understand it, because honestly, when I didn't have a family, it was like, I don't mind it, because I mean, don't get me wrong, I love spending time with my girl, but at the same time, like, she was reasonable, she was happy with as long as I communicate with her, what does it matter? But now when you have a kid, you're like, oh shit, like, it's more so because I want to be home with my kid, I want to be home with my girl, and I want to experience my baby walking, I want to experience her first saying her words, I want to experience those things, because that puts a smile on my face, and it means more to me than any loan that I have ever closed. You know, like, those are the moments that you're never going to be able to get back. So you understand and recognize that up until when you have a baby. So what can I work on? I would say is for people that are watching, they need to recognize and understanding the value of time. They need to recognize and understand that a great leader is not always going to say yes. A great leader recognizes when to say no, and there's a way to say no and how to say no in a way where you're not making other people feel belittled or make them feel any type of way. Because I think that was one thing.
I need you, not to cut you off, I need your advice. How do I tell you no?
I think it's important to understand the perspective of the other person that you're saying no. So right away, when I have to tell somebody no, I never wanted them to feel the way that sometimes I felt when I first got in the industry. When I felt someone that's higher than me, I always want people to kind of feel in some way that I'm not better than you. Off rip, I don't want the conversation to start off and you to be thinking that, like, yo, I'm Justin Rodriguez, I'm better than you, I produce more number. I never want people, I want people to understand and recognize I'm the same person that I was before that I am right now. I've grown in other aspects of life, but I'm not better than you. So when I tell somebody no, it's understanding what they're asking me, why they're asking me, and respectfully, this is the reason why I'm either saying no, or we could do it in a different way. So it's never like 100% no. It's figuring out and understanding the way people are thinking and how you could still satisfy their need without 100% being like, I can't do it, right? Like, I think that, for example, a consultation at 7 o'clock at night, can you get docs? I'll do the pre-approval, but I'll do it at home. Can you give me the docs? Like, those little things where it's like, I'll still take the time to do it, but it's like, does it have to be right now? Can I do it in the morning? If I wake up earlier, can I wake up early when my girl's sleeping? And then I got, you know, like, those are the things that are the first thing that come to my mind. I don't want to immediately be like, yeah, no, right now, it's not by the time. Maybe I get to a point where I'm 10, 15 years in the business where I don't need the business, and I don't think necessarily that when you get to that point, it's understanding how to delegate. Because I'm 10, 15 years in the business, I'm probably going to have a couple people under me, and I'm going to be like, hey, don't worry, I can't take it, but I'll have this person take the application for you. You'll get it done, da-da-da-da. Maybe I'm getting paid less on it, but I just bought myself more time, right? Like, those are the things that you understand and recognize that you know how to delegate, and that's another thing I have to work on is figuring out how to delegate. And I think I've gotten a lot better at it, but up front, as you know, dude, I was like, oh, next, I got to do it. It's me. And you get to a certain point, you just can't handle it. You start losing business because you trying to take it all at once, but you can't. Unfortunately, not everybody could be just Rodriguez. Not everybody could do it like me. But if you don't learn how to delegate, that's going to be the end of your business.
But have you identified in your business and your life where Justin Rodriguez needs to be Justin Rodriguez? Have you gotten to that point where there's certain things that you cannot put someone else on? I think that's the first step that you need to do to get to your next step. There's certain things, like, I've seen people hire people to go to their closings and bring their baskets and bring their gifts. So do you think that's as impactful? Do you think the people at the closing want to see someone else present that? Or would you take a different approach? I guess my question to you is, have you identified what you need to do on your own by yourself because it's you that people want to see, right? Perfect example is when you go see the doctor, nurse. The nurse does 90% of the work. The doctor comes in there, and there's certain things that he has to do, unfortunately, right? I can't let the nurse. My wife goes to urgent care all the time. That's her thing, urgent care. And I hate to insult the people in that industry, but they're nurses. They're glorified nurses. They're like the high-level nurses that they can't give you prescriptions and stuff, but it's still not a doctor. as well as you might put it, save money, but whatever. At the end of the day, I want to hear from the doctor. I don't want to hear from I'd rather not go to the doctor. If I'm feeling ill and the flu or whatever, I'll just, hash it out. But if I do get sick, I don't want to listen to the nurse. I want to listen to the doctor, which is what position you're going to be in. You have you identified what cannot be replaced? Videos. Can't put someone else.
Right.
There's certain things that people want to see you, people want to hear from you, because at that point you become a commodity. You don't want to be a commodity, right? You want to be still Justin Rodriguez. But you're right, time is important. But have you identified what those aspects of your business are and try to figure out where you can add the right person to take care of what you want more of is time?
Yeah, and I think it's difficult to identify. Like, this business is something that you don't understand and know what you want to do 3-4 months later. So once you stop going to closings, you're like, okay, what can I add to my business to where you still give the client an experience that, no one else can experience? And the first thing that pops in my head is Amex. Like, they give you don't know who the fucking CEO of Amex is, do you? I don't know their name. But I know sure as well, as soon as I pick up the phone to call someone in Amex and I say, hey, I need 2 tickets to the Bulls game right now, done. And they give you that level of service. You're like, holy shit, like hello, Mr. Rodriguez, Oh, shit, I never been called Mr. Rodriguez in my life. Oh, shit. And they're front row seats right now. And that level of experience, that's the first thing. It's like a white glove service. You can't explain. And I've always thought about that. How can I provide that white glove service to my clients? Obviously, closing on time, all those things are super important. But after closing, something that I really want to bring some forth of experience where my clients can truthfully say they have never experienced before. Now, to your point, I really don't know what that thing is I want to do yet. Like, you can give them a closing gift, right? That's one thing. But how can I've done past client events. I've done things for my past clients to try and give them a different level of experience. But when they're after closing, I'm still yet to find something that gives them that, like, Amex kind of feel to it, where you're like, man, obviously Justin did a great job on the loan. He did on time, always gave me updates, did everything, But that after closing is something I want to identify where I can truthfully say I am the Amex of mortgages. Where you call Justin Rodriguez, you're going to get some sort of experience that, like, the Mr. Rodriguez is like. Bro, I love that. I love picking up the phone and calling Amex. You get difference, right? Not to throw shit on Comcast, Xfinity, all that stuff. There's a difference. You start talking to freaking robots and all the time.
Bro,
you're like, okay, you're waiting on 30 minutes. You're sitting on the phone. But it's Amex is like the experience is then and there, which the fee that they charge, you don't question it. I'll never question a $750 fee because they give me a certain level of experience where I'm like, man, I feel like the king. There's nothing better than you could sit here and say when you're on the phone with somebody, when my boy's like, hey, I can't get tickets to this concert. It's impossible. All right, let me call concierge. Let me see what we can do. Instantly, oh, no problem. We got the tickets for you. We got 4 tickets, And it's like, bro, that experience to me was like on another level, bro. So that's something I'm still
That's how I got my PS5 through Amex, but we don't want to talk about what they do. But you just sparked an idea. I was at a not a seminar. I was one of my top producers. We had a kind of a presentation, and we did it with Matt Muscat from Michigan. And again, when you have these things that you do to help to help the community, the real estate community and all that, I was flabbergasted by some of the ideas that I came out of, right? So when you go to, this is talking to every agent here right now that's listening. When you have presentations, all that kind of stuff you put together, I always want to get something out of it. And what I got out of it just sparked an idea that I'm going to do. What is that? You just said something. I want to build an Amex experience. I want to do the same thing for my loan officers. I don't want to be, why do you want to come to Neighborhood Loans? You know how many times I call people? My main job, is no secret, is to recruit, retain, morale, all that, right? I'm not that I'm not focused on originating. I always want to originate. I want to know what you guys go through. And the best way to do it is to be in the trenches with you guys. But that's not my number one priority anymore. My number one priority is to grow the region as much as we possibly can. And one of the things I can come up with is what ways to help Justin Rodriguez do more loans. Why would you want to stay here? Outside of, I'll cut your damn knees off if you're trying to leave me. That's your family, but that's beside the point. But other people, what can I do that I can give my originators. You just gave me a great idea. One of the things I got from that was there was a realtor that ended up with a bunch of stuff. She had a chainsaw, bouncy house. She was cleaning her garage out. And I guess she came up with an idea. I was like, you know what? I'm going to let my clients use them. You want a bouncy house for a kid's birthday party or for your, housewarming party? It started with 2 bouncy houses, a chainsaw, something like that, where they would go to her and say, hey, can I borrow the bouncy house? Because she offered it to them. So now that you told me that, that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to load up with bouncy houses, everything that a client would need, and give it to all my LOs and let them give it to their clients and have a login. Like, listen, you want to use a bouncy house for your birthday? Instead of go renting it, we'll let you use it. Coming from you. That's going to be in the office. Here you go. Here's a bouncy house for your That's value. That's like, man, my loan officer is giving me a list of things. How many times would you need a chainsaw? But you can go to Home Depot, rent it, or they can call Justin Rodriguez. Hey, man, I got to cut down this tree in the back. Can I borrow that chainsaw? Yeah, come and get it. Log it out. Boom, here you go.
Neighborhood loans concierge services.
There you go.
Oh.
Idea started here right now.
Y'all heard it here first.
But again, having conversations of what you need for your business sparks ideas on what I can do to help that. So I think this, again, very important, because if you don't have conversations with your loan officers, how many times where leaders actually sit down with their people? That's what I love about Tony and Reno. I had one of my loan officers, like, he had 2 months in a row, and it went down. He's like, what do you think I can do to get better? I don't know. The first thing you got to do is you got to get a coaching session with Tony and Reno. They're going to give you the best playbook. They're core coaches at the ownership level. They're going to give you the best playbook that I can't even give you. And text Tony and Reno immediately, this Thursday or next Thursday, whatever, blah, 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 blah. And he came out of there like, okay, this is what I got to do for I don't have to go like this. I need to be this. Sometimes you need that roadmap. He's not that he's lazy, but sometimes when you don't know, you don't do, right? So I think, again, surround yourself with the right people, but I think that what you're saying is 100% is your recipe. Now it's going to be how fast can you do it? Because I think if you do it too fast, might be a problem. Some people think that they're ready for something that they're not. Same thing with your assistant. I know that we held off for a long time, but now we waited for the right person. Timing was perfect. Next phase of your finding someone else. If you continue to the path, yeah, you're going to need somebody else. I know that. You're getting 70 to 100 leads a month. It's impossible to do it with you have a good team, but you have two you and Carmen are the two that drive that bus. Yes, you have Delilah. Yes, you have Esperanza. Yes, you have Martina. And they're there to help you. That's all part of your team. But the two people that are focused on your team is you and Carmen, right? Those are the two people that are driving that bus. When you get off, she's driving. When you, vice versa. But you're getting to that point. Do you know what that next person looks like? And what would you, I guess the advice you give to people that are growing, because I think I've told you growing too fast might be a problem because you think you want it or you need it faster than you really do. Knowing and learning the process is more important than anything else. I can't even put it in words. Like, you have to learn and know how to do it before someone else does it for you. Otherwise, you're never going to appreciate the work that they do. But going back to you, for you specifically, and for people that feel like maybe want to get out of the business, right? What advice would you give them? And going back to your question, but back to you, is what do you think what do you think you need the next person in your team to be able to do, so that way it can give you the most precious thing we just talked about, is time?
Yeah, I think that over time, the way that I reflect on everything, right, I think the first thing for people who are watching this, right, the mentorship and the person that is above you is the most important person. And the reason why I say that is because the one thing I will say is I don't care how many times that I've told you what I need, you've always shut it down and told me just trust the process. TTP. Believe in it. I know what's best for you. Just believe in it. And no matter how many times I've told you, I believed in it. I jumped. If you told me how high to jump, I jump as high as I could possibly can, and I follow your lead. And I think that's why I think the first thing is having that mentor in front of you is really important, because I never question whether or not the things that you're telling me are true or not. I just follow your lead. And you haven't failed me yet. When you fail me, it's different, but you haven't failed me yet.
But is it because you feel like the trust is there because we're family? Because I know a lot of people, which is I hate the fact that they're saying, oh, Justin's successful because his, his uncle is. I don't like that, because you build your own empire. Yes, like I said, I've done a couple of things for you, but how fast you scaled has all been on you. But I think that a lot of times people might use that as an excuse. I call them haters. They use that as an excuse just to give them a reason why they're not doing what they're supposed to. They're like, oh, it's because of you. It's like, no, it's not because of me. It's because he puts in the time. I give everyone opportunity. I love when we go to dinners, So for me, it's you building relationships. You said that building relationships or getting to know people is the most important thing in this business, right? I've always heard that from you. Like, you need to continuously meet people. Otherwise, you're stagnant, right? People come and go. I heard your conversation today in the office. You were talking to someone that wasn't happy, that felt like they weren't your top person anymore. And you kind of said, hey, listen, this is why, and I think this is how we can fix it, and that's exactly what you need. But I think that comes with experience. I think if they would have talked to you 3 years ago, you would have came to me and like, I don't know what I got to do to fix this. Like, now you think on your feet a lot faster, and you know what you got to do in your business, But with you now, what you need to realize is the next person in your team. Like, what do you want them to do, and how do you want them to? Because they're a reflection on you. Your team and the people that work with you understand that everyone you hire is basically a reflection of you. Right. And if you hire the wrong person, it's going to be detrimental to your business. And that's why I'm so hard on you. Like, okay, let's see if you're going there. I'm never going to let you fail. I just want you to know that. If you got 200 leads 1 month and I have to come in on a Saturday, which I don't like to do, I'm not going to let you fail. Mark my words. And not just you, but anyone in our team. I have one LO that her mom is sick, and what do you need? We'll figure it out. Just tell me. I think you told me that one time you got pissed off, and you're like, listen, you got a problem. This is what you got to do to fix it. You're the manager. You fix it. Like, I ain't got to tell you how you do your job. I'm telling you that I got a problem. That's all I need. Okay, we'll fix it. You came in the office 3-4 weeks ago stressing out because you had all these contracts, whatever, and of course you need somebody. Oh, this is why I need somebody else. I'm like, tell me your problem. Did we put somebody to fix it? Did we fix it? I think we submitted 7 contracts that day or some crazy ass number like that, right? A good leader would do that. I'm not going to let not just you, anyone fail. Right. But you have to take that into a experience to, okay, my team is getting ready to grow. What do I got to do to put the right team member? And have you thought about that?
100%. And I think the first thing I want to address is exactly what you're talking about. I think people who are watching this need to understand and recognize that you're not only for me, right? I think everybody that has joined the team might have the impression up front that could be something that they see, but the more that they are surrounded by you, they understand that you're willing to fight for bat for any loan officer that's willing to come up. And I think it shows for all the hungry individuals. Their numbers are increasing, and that's for everybody. Like, I know a loan officer that was ready to jump off the edge, and you saved his career, dude. Like, and I think that people need to understand that, like, you're not just for me, you're for everybody in our industry, in our area. And I think that, the more that you're a great leader, and the more that people recognize that and understand that, they're really going to be able to grow because they're going to utilize you as a resource, and they should. They really should.
That's the same loan officer we closed today, by the way. But he was ready to go
get
back
out the
to
business, and you saved it.
I think that I appreciate the compliment, Justin, but it's different coming from you because you're family, right? I think they expect you to say this kind of stuff, and they think that it's all
so
scripted.
The only way to know is if you join, and you can see, join the team. But
and none of this is scripted. I think Eli told us today, I totally forgot about today. You're like, hey, you want to do this? Like, this is not scripted at all. This is all improv, right?
Yeah.
And, again, for me, it's easy because we're in an environment that I enjoy. I would be here whether they're doing a podcast or not. And I was just having conversations. This is the kind of conversations truly we have with or without a mic and a camera. Yeah. These are the conversations we've had for years since I think, to me, COVID was the best thing that happened to me. I think that's when we got really close. Yeah. Because I think that, you guys were young, 21.
We weren't really close.
We weren't close. I mean, I knew you were my nephew, and okay, birthdays here and there, okay, whatever. But we didn't get close until you did the intern, And then COVID hit. To me, that was the best thing that can ever happen.
Yeah.
Because you guys couldn't go out. 21 years old. There was no clubs open. So what do we do? Weekend after weekend, saw the sunrise. I hadn't probably seen the sunrise drinking and probably since I was early fucking 30s, like 25. I didn't start drinking until I was late 20s anyway, but I didn't party. I when you have a family, it's different, and you know. But going back to those days, vividly, I had the best times with you guys, coming over, sitting in my house, drinking till 6 in the morning, seeing the sunrise, realizing, shit, it's already 6. Like, what the hell? Birds chirping and shit. Yeah, like, so that to me was the best time. I love COVID.
Yeah.
And again, for other reasons, rates came down to 2s and shit, whatever. But it was a great thing for me because I got close to you and you saw the part of the business. And now I see, believe it or not, Justin, the flow of the river has been reversed. I think you learned enough about me. And now I'm learning from you. Now I'm getting to the point where I'm like, I'm seeing what you're doing. Shit, this guy's doing this. This guy's introducing me to this person. I remember when you first got into business, you're like, damn, Theo, you know a lot of people. I'm like, Justin, I've been doing this for a long time. I should know a lot of people. Now, every event I go to, I'm like, I don't know half the people there. And you're saying hi to everybody. I'm like, and people in my peers that been doing is like, how things have changed. I'm like, yeah, in 4 years. I came in there with this young man. He's in awe, like, man, my Theo knows a lot of people. Now I'm like, fuck, this kid knows everybody. Like this, that. And whether you work with them or not, it's irrelevant. The fact that they know who you are, it's a lot different when you get a contract that says Justin Rodriguez because they know who the hell you are. They put a name with a face. And whether you're working with people or not, it's important to build those kind of relationships. Like we were there at Pride Parade. I mean, to me, we had a great time. And you met a couple people that you haven't met before. You put a name with a face. You know about them. They know about you. It's like, but it's a lot easier for an agent to like, oh, shit, it's just Justin. I just met him. Oh, yeah. They can call you. They can, how strong is your offer? Because that's what makes a difference. It's the relationships that you've built over time that's going to help you. Whether you know it today, eventually tomorrow, I think you ask for something, which is what I'm telling you got to do. You asked me to help somebody, and again, I have a lot of contacts, and I'm like, there's certain things that you have to now do on your own.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, I can't be that person for everything you want to do. But I can give you the path to it. I'll introduce you to the people, and I already know. I introduce you one thing, you're going to do your thing. I don't care. You're going to find a way to build that relationship and use that relationship to whenever you feel is appropriate to continue to build and help one another. And that's really what it boils down to. I think you've done a great job. I think that your future is very bright. I think you have the foundations of a leader. You've shown it. I think that you're very unselfish. The first thing as a leader, you get to be is unselfish. I learned from my mentor, if you're going to lead somebody, you got to put their interests before yours. And if you have that in your DNA, if you want to help others before you help yourself, true leader doesn't eat first. He waits till everyone sits down, waits everyone. That's what you got to do. You got to wait to see everyone is happy, and then you enjoy the rest of it, right? But at the same time, your foundation is already set. Your leadership skills are going to continue to grow. And you start with your leaders. You start with your team. You're a leader of your team, and you continue to grow. And as you get more experience, you'll make that. You'll know when it's time for you. I'm not going to work all forever. Shit, I want to retire when I'm 60. That's my goal. This market kind of put maybe 62 right now, but you're still having great years, great months. I think that your best is yet to come. Once the market truly changes, that's when when your brighter years are way ahead of yourself. I mean, your future is very, very bright, bro. We talked about that today, and I know you're a lot like your dad in that point, where you're more conservative than I think you should be. I don't want you to go off the edge neither, but at the same time, you have that conservative approach where it's going to keep you humble for many years, but don't be afraid of what your potential is, because it's brighter than you know for yourself. And I think that you need to kind of take a step back and trust when I tell you, like, listen, don't be afraid to take chances that are you got to look at it and ask yourself, can I do it? Am I going to continue to do it? Am I going to continue to push forward and stop what I'm doing? I don't think it's in your DNA. It's in you. You want to grow. You're goal oriented. I don't think you have to worry about whether or not the market. We've seen the worst of the market. I'm telling you, from this point forward, third and fourth quarter are going to get this next couple months with this whole commission thing. It's going to freak a lot of realtors out. I think a lot of lenders. I saw a lender in California. They're driven by different. They're not realtor driven. They're not referral partner driven. They're going to hire a realtor on their payroll and try to get clients offering free realtor. So we're totally against that. But I think a lot of companies out there are going to try to find ways to generate leads, because we're not going back to the $3 trillion business. We're not. So everyone's trying to get creative, trying to do this, trying to do that. But I think that at the end of the day, if we stay focused, I think our realtor partners, our referral partners, not just realtors, attorneys, or financial planners, clients, if we stay in front of them, we do the kind of things that I'm going to put to work already. We invest in a lot of things, and maybe not all the time they've been successful. The return on our investments haven't been as great as we would want them to be. But it's these kind of ideas, these kind of talks that I'm like, wait a minute, that's a great idea. What if a lender, we start doing this? You know, we're a service-driven company. We provide good service.
Yeah.
And if we take that Amex approach, I think with your contacts and what you're doing with your social media and everything else, and we create that, I think sky's the limit, bro. I think with your help, and I appreciate all the help you've given me over the last couple of years, because I look at myself now and would I have continued on that path of growing my business as an originator. And when you came in, I kind of started focusing more on helping you grow and teaching you, and that's been probably one of the things over the last 4 years that I've focused more is on growth of my team instead of growth of myself. For the first couple of years, I had some people and I did some originating, and still, I think at a high level, I still closed 30 million in 2020. I think everybody closed 30 million in 2020. But I think when you came on, it was a switch. It was very, okay, I got to help Justin. And as I helped you, you've helped me. We brought in a couple people. Now they're doing well. And I focused on that now. I focus on the growth of everyone else, because you can't do it all. And if I have to do it all, that means I'm not going to have enough time. And time is the one thing we both talked about. And I'm going to focus it on giving it in the places that I feel is, because you can't give time to the wrong people neither. Because if you give time to the wrong people that are not willing to put in the time, it's a waste of time.
Yeah.
It's being worse. I'd rather spend it on the people. That's why when we go to dinners, we do that. I'm like, I can count in my hands the people that actually want to do it. Some people think they're salesmen, but I don't have the heart to tell them, look, you're not a salesperson. But I've known people that don't have the greatest personalities, and they're beasts because they're disciplined. So you can do it. You don't have to be, bubbly person and be in the camera all the time. You don't have to be that way. If you're disciplined, you can make it happen. But it makes it a lot easier when you have the right tools around you, the right people around you. But going back to you, I do appreciate everything you've done for me, Justin, over the last 3 years. Everything that I've done, and if you listen, you've given me fulfillment that I didn't even know was possible, man. So I do appreciate everything that you've done for me over the last couple of years, and what you're going to continue to do for me moving forward. And I look forward to your growth in leadership. You're definitely on the path. And I think sky's the limit for you, bro. You just got to stay disciplined, stay focused, and continue doing what you're doing now. I think that you have it down. Now it's a matter of, I've told you this before, there's only one person in your life that can ruin you. And who's that?
Myself.
Correct.
And we're talking about little voices in your head. That's that's something that I replace in my head every single day. So, I mean, I appreciate everything that you've done in my career. You always tell me that I owe you my happiness, right? And honestly, I think it's true. I will say I do.
I told your dad. And finally, I think I saw the podcast that you did with your parents. He finally admitted after 30 years and shit. He's like, he finally said it, And we were at the Pride Parade, and it was good to see him in an element that We used to DJ all the time
Yeah.
and stuff. You know, those that you don't know, I still enjoy spinning records, true records. I was making fun of him because he had a computer. I'm like, dude, really? You're not a freaking DJ. You're a freaking computer DJ. But it was, you know, again, we're going back. It was the experience. We had a great time, and seeing him in that element. First time at the Pride Parade, playing music. It was a good time, and I, you know, again, your dad and I, we go a long ways. One of my closest friends, and you build those kind. Now he's family, so you build those kind of relationships that are immeasurable, and you can't even put a price on it. And I wouldn't give it up for anything in the world, you know.
Yeah.
So you'll have the same. I see you and a couple of your buddies. I think we went out last Friday drinking, and we went to Output, whatever. And I saw the way you guys were reminding me of my friends that you know that. Nonsense that we talk about and stuff, but yeah, I think you're very bright future, Justin. Just stay in the lane, and do the things that you're doing now, and we'll be back here as your team continues to grow. We'll add your team, man. We'll get them here and give everyone a
That'd
perspective.
be cool. Yeah, we should definitely
give everyone a
episode.
perspective on how, because I think like now, what's the first thing you think I'm gonna go do after this?
Go back to your kids or what?
That too, but I'm gonna start Googling.
Yeah.
How much is a bouncy house? This, that. I'm gonna talk to everyone. What do you guys have in your garage that you don't use? Because I didn't come up with the idea. Someone else came up with the idea. I just heard it somewhere, and I'm like, I didn't even think about even putting it into perspective until now. And I'm like, wait a minute, we can do that. Shit, you just said I want to give my clients an experience, an Amex experience. Shit, why not do that? Why not have a neighborhood loans concierge?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, it's wheels are turning right
Yeah,
now.
I know.
Wheels are
It's
turning
game
right
over,
now.
dude.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
game
yeah.
over. Well, again, I want to thank you for taking the time today, man. It means the world to me to be able to share this experience with you, and I think that you're an amazing leader, and I think that
Appreciate
I
that,
can
Justin.
only wish to be as half of what you've already done and accomplished thus far as a leader and as a family man, everything and every aspect of life. So I appreciate everything you've done for me, my career, my family, and all the impact that you have not only in my life but all the other loan officers that are under you. I know that your leadership is very much appreciated, not only with me but everybody that's under you. So I appreciate you and your time today. Hope everybody that you have watched today has taken everything that we take and soak it all in, because it's definitely a really good episode for everybody that's watching. Entrepreneurs, loan officers, realtors, anybody that's watching, is going to be great for you to grow your business all in 2024 and for many years to come. So again, thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Make sure you go and get that cafecito, and I hope you guys like, subscribe, and turn your post notifications. Have a great day.